Recording in one, two, three. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video from Keobastein. This is K-TEIN episode 10. Per usual, I have my good host Calm Down with me, and today we're going to talk about a few things, probably more on a more general scope of medium consumption. But before we start that, calm down, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man, especially after talking with you for an hour before doing this recording.
Hey, I have heard from Castle Super Bees how they always have like a pre-show talk, how they kind of like just go in back and forth, and in fact, I think that's why they have multiple different podcasts. And then again, this is why there are the people who do podcasts because they can do long-winded talks that may go into discussions that some of their fans may or may not be interested in, either or. But hey, for starters, let's go ahead and start off. We are looking at February 19th. A few things has happened, like the state of play from PlayStation, which I certainly had some words about, and I think you had some things you wanted to say about state of play. But before that, have you been playing anything or watching anything as of lately?
So I've been watching two things, and one I think you're going to totally dig because you've gushed about it before, but I can say that I finally finished the first season of My Adventures with Superman, and
Oh,
man, what a treat. You know, like when I started it, it's just like my routine of being able to watch shows and like really binge and go through. Like I have like momentary spurts. Like sometimes if it happens, man, it happens within like a couple of days. Otherwise, like it staggers where some anime, like it takes me like months to go through just like a 20 episode series, you know, even with the episodes being so short. But I do like I was able to digest it. And man, I can say that it started so strong and it only got even better as it went through. Um, a lot of people say that, whoa, this is, you know, kind of like the most lighthearted and like kid-friendly Superman cartoon that's been out to date. And I don't
I would
agree with
question.
that,
I don't
man.
know. No, I don't
I
agree with that.
I
No,
I think it has I don't know if I'd say mature themes, but it has like
it has
serious stuff
themes.
in there.
It has
Like
themes. Yeah.
the whole you know, with the James Gunn Superman movie that came out that we did the conversation about. I think they are such great companion pieces to each other, and they really touch on in their own different ways. I mean, at the heart of the story, Superman is an immigrant success story, right? And like the hardships he deals with, I was like, whoa, the way that My Adventures with Superman dealt with that, it was like I don't know if like any medium for me as a kid kind of touched on the issues in that type of way where it had the balance of it. I'm sure there was but it's just hard for me to imagine. I just thought it was so well done. I enjoyed all the new takes and designs of villains that were presented in that show. Spoiler alert at this point. I liked that by I think it was episode 3 or maybe it was episode 4, but Lois Lane was already able to deduce that Clark Kent was Superman. I'm like, I'm so glad that this is not going to be like strung out for multiple seasons, you know? So the pacing was dynamite, in my opinion. Solid animation, good action sequences, good character development between people.
The voice
The
cast does a
series,
great job, in my opinion.
the voice cast is really, really good. So, like I mean, back in the day, of course, I enjoyed Batman the animated series. I love the Justice League cartoons and all that. Um, like I know that DC animation has kind of been up and down, sorta, with like its direct to video features. You know, like you hear stuff about that Harley Quinn show, but no, I thought this was so good, like a Superman for all ages, legitimately. You know, so that's one of the shows that I can gush about.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Well, actually, if I can at least step in for a second for something that I actually just recently started yesterday, and actually, it's one thing that kind of been giving me peace of mind because lately I've been so hard on gaming grinding that outside of watching stuff on YouTube, which even then I don't. A lot of times, it's me listening and less watching and being engaged with a show. But I decided to. Are you familiar with the show? Sorry, are you familiar with the series called Total Drama Island?
Is that a Cartoon Network show?
Yeah, it was a Cartoon Network show, or I think it actually technically is made from Teletoon from Canada, but Cartoon Network got the rights to air it in the U.S. But yeah, it was a Cartoon Network show, Total Drama Island. Basically, it's a parody show off reality game shows, if you will,
Okay.
although reality, live reality show. Now, the reason I got into it because besides the fact that I do like my competition style of things, but because it was a cartoon, basically a lot of the things felt more authentic as opposed to seeing something live action and whatnot. It felt more authentic
Mm,
because like the challenges are actually challenges, and who will win or lose is kind of more up in the air and not mostly a popularity contest to some extent. However, Total Drama had by the time they got to like third season, they kind of kept reusing characters and kind of fall flat. And basically, people who were fans of it, they decided to make their own version of it called
okay.
Disadventures. The people named Odd Nation, they made their own like fan made version of it called Disadventures, and yeah, a fan made version of Total Drama that does their own OC characters and get a lot of indie voice work and whatnot. Yeah, they actually managed to make the original premise of Total Drama better. And I watched first season and I really enjoyed first season. When I started watching second season, I kind of just fell off. And then a few years passed, so I'm like, okay, let me go back to season two. I think they said they actually remade season two because it did have like a poor reception. But I was watching season two and I was binging 4 to 5 episodes before I knew it, and I was really such a fan of it because the thing I like better than what it does, like Total Drama Island, like I said, is a parody and satire of live reality show. So they kind of just stick to the parody skit and don't really try to develop their characters. This adventure actually tries to make depth with their characters by having more of their backstory shown. I won't go for say bring up moral ambiguity, but no, basically they don't make. Actually, here's a better example. Total Drama Island has character archetypes that are generally flat, and they kind of stick within that archetype. Like you have Gwen, who's the goth. Why is she a goth? No, she's just a goth. We have the big fat guy who likes to eat. Why does he like the big? Why is he the big fat guy that likes to eat? We just make him that way. That's it. This adventure will actually tap into, if they do delve into an archetype, they'll actually type it like they have a character who technically acts very, let's say, goth adjacent, but they actually taking medication and dealing with mental issues and whatnot. I don't want to say it's just a mature, but like characters actually have something more than just a cookie cutter archetype. So there's depth with that and whatnot, and the writing just kind of overall, because the writing does a little bit more, it's been an enjoyable fun. I would definitely call it my, now sorry, well I call it peak media or anything like, no, it is gourmet popcorn at a theater, but it's still popcorn. In other words, it is still kind of empty calories and whatnot. Like you're not really gonna come away with a full on new perspective of life, because there's another medium that I want to talk about that does that. But before I go further, you did say you tapped into another medium yourself that you mentioned.
Real quick on this Disadventures like spin-off fan project, like is it just kind of like a natural extension where like the people who really try to follow Total Drama Island and like the consensus is like the later seasons kind of fall out, but people are so in tune with that world and those characters, it's very easy for them to find
I would
out
say
about
yes,
Disadventures?
because the thing is,
Okay.
there are like many different spinoffs. Like it got so big that many other people did spinoff. I think this Adventure Camp is like considered the next biggest one, and whatnot. Um, because of the limited animation style it does, it doesn't seem like it's that hard to reproduce. And because it's easy to get a lot of indie voice work, I mean, I've seen so many different voice acting from different indie games and just like low profile games. Like in fact, just right now, I heard about Neo 3 being out, and I'm hearing the voice acting is something special, if the word I want to use. Because just
Okay.
a lot of British people doing English dubbing, and apparently there was it's like it's so bad it's good comedy go, but it's not really like a heart to heart. No, I won't say heart to heart. Let's say authentic voice acting. And if a triple A game could do that, sorry, if a triple A game is putting no heart into voice work, it's not surprising to me that indie work are doing better job, since that's already happened with like indie movies, indie games, indie books, and et cetera, et
Well,
cetera.
the thing about like the voice acting world that kind of gets like weird is I understand what you're trying to frame, or I think I understand what you're trying to frame by like a triple A studio, but they cut corners also, and they don't always revere voice acting for what
Yeah,
it
no, yeah, no,
should
they don't.
be.
They don't review
So
them.
so
Yeah.
the people who are doing voice acting work in indie projects, I mean, there's plenty of people like one of the most prominent ones, Kira Buckland, who maybe her most famous role right now is like 2B from Near, but she's been in like so much stuff. She's like like her start was those indie projects. I think her very first voice role was you know those Ego Raptor flash animations on
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Newground,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
something way back from that day. But she was a I mean this in the positive sense, like a legit nerd, dude, like a legit like anime otaku, where she was like um when she was able to land, I forgot because I don't watch the series, but one of the Joestar characters, Jolene, maybe when
Mm-hmm.
she got that role, like that was like
Yeah,
a
I did
dream
her how she was a
role
very
for
big
her
fan. Yeah,
whole. Uh, Kira Buckland, she does one of the voices in Phantom Breaker Omnia, you know? So
I might need
like
to review that then. But I mean, hey, that's great because I do like the voice for other characters. I think the only one that threw me off, but then I got used to it, was Gaito and maybe Infinities. But otherwise, I did enjoy everybody else's voice work quite a bit.
they picked for Phantom Breaker Omnia like actual like legit voice actors. So again, like everybody has different starts, and like the people who really love voice acting, they also enjoy being in as many projects as possible. At
Mm-hmm.
the same time, is it a lucrative career? Does it actually help pay the bills? In a lot of cases, no.
No,
Okay.
no.
So there's that. But the other show that I was watching that I've been enjoying in a lot of ways, similar aspects to what I said about My Adventures with Superman as far as an animated property. It's also a DC property, but a very different type of show is Creature Commandos. And I think I have maybe
Oh,
just
that
two
is really
episodes.
good.
Dude, so I think I've discovered that, man, I just really like James Gunn's work. Okay. And so does that give me some bias going into this? Yeah. What I will say, his humor doesn't always land. Okay. So, like, if you watch the first couple episodes, I also think they're the weaker ones out of the season. Like, I totally understand if people feel like it's not for them, but his strength is giving character details and giving you investment into them, you know? And that's happened multiple times. You know, when he did Guardians of the Galaxy, when he did that second Suicide Squad movie, you know, and you get invested in like, whoa, like there's heart to this stuff. It doesn't have to be a good character, you know, it could be an actually bad character, someone that you despise, but you have some sort of investment in them. Like it happened to Peacemaker also. Dude, like how many times like he wanted to do something like, are you serious? Like, why would I care about that? And like, yeah, I care about Peacemaker. Yeah, I care about those members of the Suicide Squad. Whoa, these creature commandos, to me, like I was not a hater, but I was just like, why is this show being made? Oh, great, another Suicide Squad thing. And then as it goes on, I'm like, man, he got me. Wow, like I care about this character. Like the fact that he gave Weasel a backstory. I'm like, man, like I Weasel to me was like has to be one of the stupidest comic book characters I have ever seen. That's me, all right. Um, but then at the end of this episode, I'm like, I'm not crying, but like I get close where I'm like, oh, Weasel, no. So it's been a good ride. Definitely mature for sure. And again, like those first couple episodes, like the maturity feels kind of try hard. Like I wouldn't be opposed to like that descriptor for it. But as it goes in, I'm like, man, what he's able to accomplish in this limited amount of time, I don't think it's speed run. I don't think it's like too quick. Like just like bravo to the writing, man. It's good.
We have mentioned about pacing before and how good pacing is good. I am definitely not in the camp of, oh man, you should watch this series of program because there's just so much going into it. I don't care if something is 200 so episodes. I just need to be an enjoyable engagement, whether it's 4 episodes, 9 episodes, just be something that is enjoyable. because if it's too long, then I'm very
Yeah.
likely to bounce out because maybe too much investment into it. Or it may even start either contradicting itself as a story, because I can tell you a few mediums that start contradicting itself, in my opinion. But hey, Cujo Commando, I have not actually watched that to the full, but I've seen many of the highlights, and my homeboy the Brew really did enjoy that. And as someone who did like the Creature of Frankenstein, spoilers to anybody who haven't watched Creature Commando, I am actually a fan. Sorry, I'm a fan of his portrayal, rather, in a sense, because one, he is basically a person, but it's not terrible by the means of what people may speculate. Oh, pure evil and everything. It's rather, this is a misguided person who
Yeah.
does not take accountability for the
He,
misguidedness.
he's very misguided, and like with his misguided actions, he does some horrible, horrible
Yeah.
things. At the same time, dude, like it surprised me. And again, we want to talk about voice work. Credit to David Harbour for
Oh yeah.
voicing him. Like, again, most people know David Harbour because of Hopper from Stranger Things, his live action role, and then the other one in Marvel, he's I forget his name, but he's like Black Widow's father, and like he's a certain caricature of himself. It's like very extra where I don't care for that character so much, even though I heard that in Thunderbolts, like they gave him more depth, which is good. But here, dude, like the misguided and like horrible things, but also in the last couple episodes I saw, Frankenstein's monster, like he has some of the funniest lines. I'm like, wow, again, how did they do that? He is freaking hilarious. And then it makes it all the more heartbreaking when he does the horrible things. And like you feel
Exactly, because
that
people are
frustrated
because
and
people are
disappointment.
still people, yeah, and
Yeah.
whatnot. And I do personally like how the bride. I don't know if I want to still keep calling her the bride. She's not just. Oh, sorry. Sorry. He's more guilty, but she also contributes to the carnage. She just rather, I'm trying to get away from this, but if I gotta blow up a couple of places to do so, so be it. Well, I guess the thing is, she still has agency. She isn't the I'm in a precarious situation. She's taking agency of like, I'm in a precarious situation and I'm taking myself out of it, even if it means by force. And I am a fan of that portrayal.
I Keobastein, like out of all the shows we've done, I'll say something like really out of pocket here for a second, and you do not have to comment at all because I don't even know what your reaction will be. But I will say also, the bride is maybe one of the more attractive characters I've seen in a medium in a while, and I would have never thought that from just like the initial design, but
Yeah.
like seeing her in the show, I'm like, yeah, it's doing something for me.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So actually, the other thing that I got into, and I started noticing a theme, and maybe you can help me point out. So, like I said, I like this adventure, because it reminded me of total drama, and it still lines in the like competitive thing of people competing to try to win and whatnot. Because in fact, like in total drama, one of my most favorite character is the fourth antagonist, because they're not trying to win the $100 million. They're just, we're here to win to win. We're in competition to
Hmm.
compete and whatnot. And I kind of love how they're like, we're here to win. This ain't about friendship. This ain't about trying to make the money. I'm in a competition and I'm trying to get that gold medal and whatnot.
Hmm.
They're like the ice skaters, and they became my favorite villain because they're about that. Basically, they're like we're bad guys, but we're professional bad guys, if you will. We got
Yeah.
standards in a sense. Of course, when they do go off their standards, that's when they even one of them questions themselves, and the other is like win at any cost, and to some extent, and it's that I want to win so bad, I'm going to throw away my integrity as a person to do so, and that's kind of speaks to that. Oh yeah, that's that competitive edge that you want to go so hard. Now the reason I bring that up because the other show that I'm now about to get back into is rather a revisit, and it's holding so well, is Hey Arnold. I started rewatching some scenes
Hmm.
from Hey Arnold. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that show, but
Yeah. Grew up
now
with it, of course.
admittedly, I did like Hug Up Attack as a character and whatnot, but even when I kind of got more progressive, when I got more conscious minded, even I was like, oh yeah, Helga is kind of a very mean and toxic person, and even though I kind of like the crush that she has on Arnold, it's coming from a very bad place, and I'm not sure if I want to get behind that. But after when I see her history, back history, and everything she goes through, oh wow, it's not to excuse Helga, but it's like, oh, we're lucky that you're just a bully to Arnold, and that's about the extent of it. Because she has, if you want to talk about a character who has who can have very valid crash out and doesn't, that's Helga from Arnold. Like,
So admittedly, my memories of Hey Arnold have like faded kind of a lot, but I do remember that semantically people might argue, but I feel like on Western animation, Helga might be like people's most first introduction to like a tsundere
oh yeah,
type
no, no,
character. I
yeah,
don't know
she
if
was
you're
my
familiar
first.
with that term.
Well, I'll say
Yeah.
my first interest in Sundar might actually be Lucy from Peanuts. Charlie Brown Peanuts. Lucy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Like,
that.
and again, like I can see you can making the argument for that. I don't know, like, did Lucy ever actually have feelings for Charlie Brown though?
No.
Okay.
So that is
Okay.
true. It's rather towards.
It's just a soon, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
It's
where
just
she,
it's just assumed. I mean, some people
um
feel it is there, but yeah. But
I
let
was
me
gonna
say
say
this.
about
Go ahead.
oh go ahead.
No, no, no.
Okay.
The Helga does fix that archetype much better now that you mention it.
Yeah, yeah. So like yeah, she's into him. I was gonna say just like the blips of memory that I remember from Hey Arnold. There was Gerald's tonsillitis, or when he got his tonsils removed, and they did that episode because the voice actor also had his tonsils removed in real life. So they wanted a way to like kind of justify his voice change, but also having like a story arc for the character. I thought that was awesome. Um, then the other episode I remember. This was like pretty good for Asian American representation. Mr. Huyn giving him the backstory of
Oh
like
man, it's
the
such
Vietnam
a strong
War.
episode. I can still
Yeah.
remember like that episode. I might need to rewatch that episode because I'm pretty sure it was him. But oh, Mr. Wynn, oh, actually, very great character. Sorry, actually, no, Hayano has great character. If you want to talk about representation of both body types and gender,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
So again, and that's just like from what I remember. Again, like not not everybody, not every episode has to be a Vietnam flashback episode, right? But I'm just
no,
saying
no,
that
no.
it was a show that wasn't afraid to tackle something like that, and again, did it in a way that if that show and that storyline had to be made today, could it also be well done? It could be, but I think like a lot of mediums that try to tackle the subject matter, sometimes they come across as like try hard,
Yeah,
or
no, no.
they come across as
You're
like
right.
just doing checking the boxes without the sincerity. I think Hey Arnold, again, from what I remember, had the sincerity and the heart in it.
Yeah, like because the thing is, at least when I look at here, Arnold, they're willing to acknowledge it, but it doesn't need to be a spotlight unless it is part of the story.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will just acknowledge it, which is why it had very good well-being, which is why people felt well around it. And this kind of actually want to know, this is kind of so why I want to say I'm going to Ahyan. Not because it's like just nostalgia, but there's something I noticed. I am a much bigger fan of shows or medium where the stakes are kind of low, if
Mhm.
anything. Because if the stakes are low, then a lot more things are, more personal and not personal, but rather more palatable. Like for sorry, Hajino Ippo, the main
Yeah.
character loses his fights quite a lot, and it's not
Mhm.
because, sorry, he's allowed to lose because if he lose, then it's just his ego that lost, or he lost a match, or whatnot, and everything. That's it. It's not the world ends if he loses, or anything like that. So there is a lot of opportunity for, if anything, either upset or down points. There are opportunity for down points, but the down points aren't the end of the world down point, which is why I can sometimes get pulled away from shows where it is the end of the world because, like, okay, I know the heroes aren't going to lose because unless this is going to be a nihilist or a depressing story, odds are the heroes are going to win one way or another. But when you got a
You
story,
do
go ahead.
I was gonna say you do put yourself in the position like when it is an end of the world story where the stakes are so high, like you just said right there. There's either plot armor, or even if they overcome it, then like the writing gets kind of boxed in where they have to find another way to escalate the threat next time to be even bigger than the
Yeah,
end of
and
the
that's
world.
where a
Yeah,
show needs to either cut it off as it ends or redirect.
yeah.
Because one show that I was enjoying, but it go way too hard, going too hard on stakes. Netflix DreamWorks Shira. Like I'm not
Mm,
against them wanting to make Katra and Adora be the end goal, but they had to make them be such a toxic people that it's like, oh, the only way we could have saved this if they actually do have to work together, and that's not a good. Sorry, not a good. It's not something I prescribe to. I don't like where, well, we have to do the thing that we don't like because we have no other choice. I am not a fan of those type of like zero sum scenarios. Like basically, the main character and the main heroine had to be together. You know, they always been so very toxic to each other because it had to, or else the world, end of the world was going to happen. I don't like when shows do that because it not do that. That I just don't enjoy that zero sum type of nature of design. It's kind of one reason why I have my gripes with our system worst games. Is either
Mhm.
play very aggressively or die very miserably playing passive and methodical. And it's like, I don't like that. Like, if you're going to punish me for playing defensively, make it so that my opponent correctly either gets my defensive options or they like let the opponent do the job of making me poor type playing defensively bad and not, well, we put system mechanics in here to make it a bad decision like that. Like, I still hate negative penalty to this day. Personally, I still hate it.
Well, Keobastein, since you did bring up Arc System Works, is this like not the best transition to kind of go into the Sony state of play
You
since
know what?
Arc System Works did have representation there?
They did. So I guess we could bring that. So state of play did happen. So since I was not I'm talking about, so actually there was something I didn't tell you that I did actually enjoy when we did have our talk earlier. I think the
Okay.
highlight for me might actually been Mina the Hollower. That game finally being having a release date, or sorry, being close to releasing. You know about Mina the
Can you
Hollower?
no? Can you give some insight onto that?
All
I've
right, so
never heard
Mina
of
the
it.
Holler is made by the good people at Yacht Club, who has also made the beloved Shovel Knight the game
I
and
see.
whatnot. Now, as most people know, Shovel Knight is kind of like a homage to side-scrolling Mega Man run and gun game. Now, Mina the Holler seems to be taking homage to more of the over-the-head top Zelda-like game, and it is doing a very good job of that. But another way it's also pulling to me because the art style reminds me of very much of an old Disney property that I'm not sure if I can call them Disney. I think that has its own booster. Are you familiar with a series called The Great Mouse Detective?
Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently that's actually a series in a book, something I should probably look into. But either way, my introduction to that was through Disney's The Great Mouse Detective, and Mina Hollower has some very great, The Great Mouse Detective vibes. So I've kind of been a fan of that. And I guess nothing also I could at least say personally from my progressive side. Oh, we have a female lead character who's doing hero stuff and whatnot. Hey, you know what? Cool.
Um,
More to that.
so quick aside, because I'm looking at the wiki here, and at this point, it shouldn't be surprising. I'm looking at the composer, and Jake Kaufman is there. And at this point, Jake Kaufman's been part of like Yacht Club games, and he's done music for stuff like Shantae as well. But it's man, it's surreal to see his name like that, where it's a feel good story for me. I don't know Jake Kaufman personally, dude, but if we want to think about like how the internet was before all this social media stuff, being on Twitter and Discord and anything like that, back when there were message boards, right? Jake Kaufman was one of the pioneers of doing video game remixes. Okay, the
Ah,
two big websites at the time, and they still continue to this day. That ocremix.org is like the bigger one now, I think, but there
Overclock
used to
remix.
be
Yeah.
VG Mix was the other one, and that one was started by Jake Kaufman. And again, like OC Remix was really about like high end, maybe like DJ quality remixes and arrangements, and VG Mix was more kind of like open, where plenty of people who submitted to OC Remix they could submit their stuff to VG Mix, but also this is where you had people doing like covers of stuff, just like just live guitar, straight up cover of things. And now, like on YouTube, it's just like a totally different space, and it's awesome to see all that VG video game music be so prolific, right? But back then, when you wanted to have like a cover of Castlevania or something, you were so limited. And again, like Jake Kaufman's level back then, his handle was Virt, VIRT. It was just like you could tell he was something special. He was like a talent, and it was like a big deal whenever he got licensed to be on, like, I think Qbert was like his first game that he got to score. And like, oh man, that's so cool. And then now, like, he's still in it, Man, again, that's just like a feel good story for me to see him doing that type of stuff. So again, like that's just the music side, and yeah, music is just one component of games. That doesn't indicate like the quality of the game itself, but I see that as like a really good sign for Mina the Hollower.
That name does sound familiar. I wanted to done another game called, I think, Eugenics, or not, but I know I've heard that name before. But the one name of gaming music that comes to me that, I mean, it's kind of maybe heard by anybody, but Toby Fox music is pretty darn freaking good. I have not even really played their Toby Fox game like Deltarune and Undertale, but
Yeah.
I can admit that music goes super good and hard. Like I do have those game soundtrack on my phone because how good they are and whatnot, and it's still video gaming. Because one of the issue with video game music that happens with current modern era or even AAA games, they feel they have to have music be orchestral. It's like, no, we don't need
Yeah.
orchestral. I mean, I like orchestral music. Like I am a fan
Hmm.
of orchestral music.
Hmm.
Does that need
Well,
to be
I
part
think
of
the
every
problem
game?
with
No.
orchestral music is I see a similar thing happen with the movie space. You know, back in the day when like comic book movies or whatever were like more rare, I think the appeal of like something dark and gritty was bigger, right? But then when there was that shift where everybody was trying to do dark and gritty, it's like, okay, guys, that's enough. You know, like when there's all like when the first John Wick movie came out, I think it was like a little too late for like my taste of what I wanted. But you know, if I was younger, that's exactly the type of movie I would want. And then now there's so many John Wick sequels, or like, oh, so many badass characters like getting revenge or whatever. And it's like it loses something with it. So I agree. Like whenever you hear the first like orchestral arrangement or cover of like a beloved tune that you enjoyed, it's a mind-blowing experience. Yeah. But then when everything's orchestral, like it when everything is epic, then nothing's epic, right?
Yes, I full on agree with that. So, Chill, I guess seeing back to Mina Hart. So yeah, that's one thing I really liked it from that state of play, Mina the Hollower. Now, me being a fighting game person, obviously I am aware of the Dead or Alive coming back, which not don't want to say coming back. Yeah, yeah, Dead or Alive coming back, which is both happy but also, to be honest, kind of expected. When now Itagaki one, may he rest in peace, passing
Hmm.
away was one thing, but I will say it probably had a lot more to do with that than people maybe care to admit. Maybe on top of course, what's going on with Dead or Alive as well and Virtual Fighter. But I kind of figured we are going to get another Dead or Alive game. I didn't think we are going to stop at six, because new opportunity and like Dead or Alive 6 came out at a time where, let's just say, the practice that it does that people claim to hate is now just expected and whatnot.
Hmm.
So I figured it was going to come back and whatnot. So now the thing that I was surprised about was we have some more content we wanted to add. Oh, now that's kind of interesting and whatnot. And also for me, I didn't think the worst of Dead or Alive 6. The thing that I probably hate the most was how they handled the hit sparks. Because I liked how hit sparks were in Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate, or is it like no last round? Dead or Five last
Yeah,
round.
five last round.
Since they pull back on the hit sparks, which I was not a fan of, so I'm hoping that might be something they may add into this one, and of course, there might be the potential of rollback. We now know they deconfirmed crossplay, which that's fine for the most part. But I am hoping to see that they are possibly going to maybe add rollback and maybe some other updates. And also from a business side, it sort of makes sense. So they already know they want to do Dead Light. So they have announced Dead Light 7, so they are going to do that. But if you want to get some more funding, well, let's sell something while we're making Dead or Alive 7
I
and
mean,
get
in
people.
a way, this is like Koei Tecmo's sort like I don't think they're stealing the business model, not like that, but I think it's like honestly no different how in preparation for Virtua Fighter 6, where the timeline for that is like kind of up in the air and it ended up being like later than people were thinking, and how they kept re-releasing Virtua 5 Revo,
I actually
Worlds,
say that's
all
exactly the
those.
same thing. Yeah, I say
Yeah.
exactly the same
The
thing.
the thing that sucks is like, I mean, between the two, again, I do enjoy Virtua Fighter. I think I told you before, man. I am so ready for
Virtual
Virtua
Fighter is
Fighter
very
6 version
old.
of Vanessa
It-
Lewis. It's so old that I think that, man, this should have been more of a slam dunk for Dead or Alive 6 last round to be coming out like this. Like, I think the price point being higher is kind of a bummer, you know?
I definitely need to see what everything they're doing for me to justify that price point. I'm kind of definitely a bummer because one of the differences is like Virtual Fighter 5 has been re-released. We already know it was a good game. Virtual Fighter 5 itself was a good game. Last Round was a good game. Ultimate was a good game. So us getting it 5 times, we already know this is a good game. Like there's no redemption. This is just we're releasing a good product for the eighth time or whatever, whatever. Their Life Six is infamous for not really being a good game. So this is an opportunity for it to redeem itself and actually highlight, hey, these are the stuff that we have in this game that we thought you may
And
like.
and
Like I don't,
unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be able to do that. Like, do I want to? Because I enjoy the Dead or Alive franchise. Of course I do. But dude, like the stigma that Dead or Alive has as like the titty fighter game, like it's so freaking hard for it to shake. And I don't even know how you go about
I
navigating
don't
that because, like,
think they
obviously the
can even shake it off, but they could at least curate it. And I think they're trying to do that. At least I'm getting that impression.
Yeah. Well, what I will say is again, so Dead or Alive 6 last round, I believe, is going to be like $40 compared to $20 at Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. Now, this is where like how you want to swing the math, right? Because Dead or Alive 6 base version, the deluxe edition, goes on sale for like $12, you know? But like outside of the SNK guest characters of Mai Shiranui and Kula Diamond, all the previous DLC characters that Dead or Alive 6 had, like Nyotengu, Rachel, Momiji, Tamaki, they're going to be part of the version now. So like any other character that was released, that's part of it. So I think the costs do like it does make it comparable, you know, because again, you buy the Dead or Alive 6 version really cheap, but then you need to go and buy each character individually. It does add up because like the
It
cheapest
does add
character is
up,
like
but
four
I
bucks.
do think that is much better because what else do you have? Like, let's think about free to play fighting, free to play fighters. Since we're talking about that, because we're about to topic into like, all right, fighting games are not an easy genre to get into. So having something that's easy to entry to get in is kind of a very good thing. Like if I want to play Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I need to either wait for that sale or pay that $50 price range or whatever they're asking for. Same thing for Blade Stranger and many other games. One of the reasons why I was such a fan of Dead or Alive last round, or how we got into it, because I was able to get the free to play version. Well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like all these characters, so I was able to
Hmm.
you know, pick and choose which character I wanted to play and just go with that. I think that's still going to help Dead or Alive sits last round because my other option is okay, Grand Blue versus Rising. You're given a free version that still cuts out many of the game's mode and training mode features, and the characters are still on rotation. So even if I want to play a certain character, I have to wait till they're on rotation, or I need to just go buy the game and be done with it. That front
That
load
again,
card.
I agree with, and especially because Dead or Alive in their free version, they always give you Kasumi, and Kasumi's a fun and great character to use. And then with this 6 last round core version, they're gonna have this is divisive in the Dead or Alive community because of how prominent they've pushed these characters over like the ninja characters like Kasume
Yeah.
and Ayane. But you have Marie Rose and Honoka who are front and center. And again, whatever
Business
criticism
decision makes sense. Not a
that
fan of it, but business
well,
decision, yeah.
I was gonna say, like, whatever you feel about the look of the characters, I think their gameplay kits are legitimately fun. Now, do you have to suck up and like just get over how you feel about the appearance if it doesn't do it for you? No, 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 because like there's plenty of super fun characters in Dead or Alive. The fourth core version character was the new addition to 6,
And
Nico,
I
the
think that's
blue-haired
still the
girl.
right decision because you want to add one of your newer characters in there. So it
Yeah.
would either been Nico or that other street brawler. It should have been either one of
I
those
mean,
two.
yeah, Diego, like again, his play style is fun enough as a brawler. Like even if like nothing's really standing out, his character design. I mean,
Yeah, his character
if it
design,
was like,
they really should take an opportunity to like he could have got if there's a character who is very uninspiring, it's him. Like I think Rig looks much better, and Rig is kind of guy in the hood.
yeah. I mean, and that's the problem with Diego is like not only was he uninspired, he also had I think the least amount of costumes. So like there's like zero remedy that you could do with like the
Really,
customization.
that
Um,
really hurts if that's the case.
Now for what else was I gonna say about six? Like again, like the Dead or Alive series does have an absurd amount of DLC, and if like, you oversimplify it, like you add everything from the cart, everything that's on the Steam page into the cart, it's going to be thousands of dollars, right? But again, most of that's cosmetic. So if you buy the characters, that's no different. I think in some cases maybe cheaper than the Tekken 8 or Street Fighter 6 price of characters. Okay,
And you
so
can
again,
still get the stuff you want. I think that choice
yeah.
really still helps a lot. Like your freedom of choice really helps a lot. Like I actually would have probably tried Tekken 8 if there was a way for me to get Tekken 8 and just get Zavina or Leroy, and I could have just tried it out. Now me as a competitor, I would eventually just get every character because like,
Hmm,
well, I need
hmm.
to have these characters even as training dummies and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's like at least make the people who may have a passing interest get somewhat interested into it and whatnot. This is where I still feel even Mortal Kombat 1 is actually doing pretty better. They keep selling their game at $10 a pop. I'm pretty sure they're still making quite some bank because look at all the cosmetics you could buy and whatnot.
Yeah. The 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 last couple things I can say about Dead or Alive 6 last round are again, I'm not going to be rushing out to get this one unless it really seems like
Yeah, I wouldn't.
the future Dead or Alive is
I'm
like, oh,
definitely need to see what they're doing. My bad, I didn't mean to cut, but yeah, I. This is not a day one buy. I was like, oh, I'm happy for this. And the
mm-hmm,
reason I'm happy for this because also what the president it says because this is basically okay. This is a game that released. We could re-release a game or quote unquote revive an old game, even if it's quote development has been done, and want to add on to that because that's what I'm personally hoping for. Pokken DS to happen. Pokken be like, all right, we're gonna we got some more stuff coming out because Pokken I think was supposed to get more DLC characters. Because when you look at the first DLC character, they say Wave One, you wouldn't really number that unless you were planning to do more stuff. Same thing with Marvel's Capcom Infinite. The idea of just, go back to older products and re-release the things that we didn't get to finish or do. So I like the precedence that Dead or Alive is setting. Not only that, also the precedence of, okay, fighting games are getting back popular. So now we're going to have developers who are going to want to bring back fighting games. I'm hoping Bloody War may come back from this and whatnot. But you know what? That's enough of Dead or Alive 6. Because there is one more game that we should probably at least give a little bit of a spotlight to, even if it's not my biggest pie to get excited for. So Marvel
okay, what the hell is that?
Tokon. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, back
Marvel
to the Arc
Tokon.
System Works. All right.
Marvel Tokon. And this has made a splash because one, we finally got to see more characters for a game that's about to release in a few months, and we don't know the full roster yet. So I can at least understand people's gripes for that, whatnot. But we at least now know, okay, we got Wolverine here. That's pretty good. Expected, but pretty cool. Apparently, he might be of a tank of a character since he has
Mm-hmm.
armor, so that's kinda interesting. And I say kinda, but also honestly not really, and whatnot. Then we got Magic here,
Mm-hmm.
who yeah, she's blowing up on my Twitter, and I'm not a
Yeah,
Marvel
Marvel
person, but
Rivals popularity really did a lot for her.
apparently so. Apparently so. Apparently some people are saying she looks even better in Tokon than Marvel Rivals, even though they're like two different art styles, so two different
Yeah,
tastes
they
and
both look
whatnot.
good in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll say this: the thing I like the most is how her collar has a little bit of that frou-frou-ness of like a little bit of a like feathers, not feather, but cloth and whatnot. But yeah, people are really enjoying her. And then we have the other character, Danger, which I'm gonna be honest, don't like. I don't like. No, not the character Danger. I got Dangers here. I do want the off-wild pit. I do not like her current design because it's way too strong on the waifu location. And I think my issue with that is sets already sells. You don't need to glaze up something sexy to be selly. If it's, I mean, sorry, especially if you're selling, sorry. Well, you know what? Screw it. If we're gonna set sales to the Gooners, if it's already two legs and feminine, that's gonna sell already. We don't need to go any more further than that. But they went as far as to make Danger look basically like a generic anime. Sorry, I'm gonna call it generic anime. Like even Magic, which they also waifu up. She at least has some distinct feature, like her
Well,
eyelashes.
I mean, time out real quick on that because I feel like Magic is pretty true to form how she looks in the comics. Now,
Oh
if
yeah,
you
no,
want to
no, yeah, yeah.
criticize the sex appeal in general, that's totally fine. I don't want to say they waifued Magic up even more
Yeah.
because she's pretty one to
No, no,
one
no.
in
They
my
they they,
opinion.
they
Now, as
like
far as
this slight.
Danger, I was gonna say, as far as Danger goes, you're not wrong, but compared to like her comic book iteration, like this waifu generic form is actually simplified down in what I would call a quote unquote good way. Because like her character design in the comic books is so over designed
I will
that
agree with
this
that. That's one thing I will agree.
yeah.
Yes, it is over design. I think my main biggest contention is her eyes. If anything,
So
I
1000% there. Like I don't like that either. I don't like she you said generic anime waifu, which is still valid. I don't like the youngness of it, if that makes sense.
no,
Like
no, no.
being more like a
That
kid.
youth part is killing me. That youth part is really killing me, and it kind of like it's really killing me. Like how
Give her
youthful,
sunglasses, man. Give her some kind of mask or something like an alternate
like
costume. Like yeah,
like she's supposed to be the danger room and whatnot. I mean, I just don't know. Like, is she supposed to be intimidating? Make her intimidating, or sorry, if she's supposed to be intimidating, I don't know what the goal is with Magic. It's kind of technically also my issue with even how Miss Marvel is kind of portrayed. Like, she don't even really look like Miss Marvel to me, if I'm being honest.
Miss
But you
Marvel
know,
is like even younger. Yeah, you're right.
yeah. So there's that. I mean, and the thing is, their art design is good because you know who really glows up in that art style? Star Lord. Star Lord looks amazing in that art style. If you ask me,
Hmm.
I think he looks amazing in that. And then we do have like Storm right there, who I also think also looks pretty darn good and amazing in that style too.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Like it just seems like it is the thing of making all female characters very youthful. Sorry, it's either they gotta be young and youthful or they gotta be mature and sultry. And it's like there's no in between.
yeah, and I
And
think that's again valid criticism. I think that's just kind of not excusing it, but like par for the course for like anime aesthetic designs in
yeah, and I think
general.
that's why
So
Magic works because Magic at least Lila she does have some age behind her, and even if there's still some distinct features I could get behind that. But stepping away from how characters are looking, so we got more. So we got the uncanny S Man. So people are wondering who are the other characters to be. I kind of don't really care about the character. Like I know some people are upset that we didn't get some other staples. Like I will take a look because I like if they add Cyclops, I'll take a look as a Cyclops fan, but not as a
mhm.
Tocon fan. Not
Yeah.
because gameplay wise, I'm still not seeing anything that's grabbing me for the gameplay. Have I had a chance with the beta? No. Am I even with the people who like the game has no sauce? I'm not sure if I'm fully on there. Though some people who have played say like if you play BB Tag and Dragon Ball Fighter Z, this feels like a much more uh less immersed version of those type of games, which that is kind of something I might feel like with like 2SKO and whatnot, which I might even highlight a bit. Like 2SKO is like, right now, Tokon and 2SKO are both in the camp of you are very pretty looking games, but but then that's where it kind of stops. As far as what they do gameplay mechanic wise, I am generally bored of tears of what they're doing, in my opinion, and whatnot. While like,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I wonder how fun it will actually be to play because I haven't had a chance to do any of the betas either. I will say, like, the state of play teaser made it look the most dynamic it's ever been, and I heard that they have been making some adjustment. The problem with any kind of game discourse is like, oh, devs listened and they made some adjustments to like how the assists are coming into play, but I don't know how that will actually feel once the controller's in your hands, because yeah, like to me, I think the underrated tag fighter is probably BB Tag, and all of these ones look slower, right?
I'm definitely not against the idea of a fighting game being slower. Absolutely. I mean, I like my methodical, deliberate fighting game. My issue is actually no. My issue, even with fighting game genre as a true product, is if you're making a game, what are you using your game to like set apart? Like, what is your gameplay function? If you're just being like Marvel Token just looks like another Arceus fighting game that has Marvel character skins. Actually, I just talked to my homeboy Ghost last because he actually kind of enjoys John Wick, like he enjoys that medium. So I say, oh hey, there's a John Wick game. Are you looking forward to the John Wick game?
Hmm.
And he told me not really, cause I already been there, but done that. Like I like the character, but the action game that it's offering just looks like what I did in Hitman Absolution. It looks like what
Yep.
I did in a couple of other games. So I'm not being drawn in outside the fact that, oh, this is a character I recognize, but this is gameplay that I'm already familiar or the novelty has worn off. And that's what I'm feeling for Marvel Tokon. Like Marvel Tokon and 2SKO feels like these are gameplays that I'm already played and the derivatives already does it more. Like I'm playing Hunter x Hunter, which is not flattering looking. I tell you right now, that game is not flattering looking. I would not tell anybody to buy $60 of the game. But is it a game that's actually fun and engaging that I want to go and play? Yes,
Hmm.
because of how both character designs, how it has two different Roman Council like systems, how there's different assist characters and whatnot, like how everything dynamically played one another. I'm more invested into that. While 2SKO and Tokon looks like, well, never say 2SKO, at least Marvel Tokon, it looks like more the same of a much more, I dare say, watered down version of like BB Tag, like you said. And BB Tag still has some interesting stuff behind it with both the cross tag, with the cross assault, or
Hmm.
with the diamond that you build up and whatnot. Like those do feel more interesting. While Tokon has not shown anything to make that really appealing, outside of the fact that hey, look, you're playing with Marvel characters.
Right. But I mean, like Marvel, maybe not in the movies, but like game wise, we could say like it's hotter than ever, right? Because of Rivals.
Well, from what I understand, I have not played Mario, but I heard it is actually a hero shooter that's actually doing good or interesting hero shooter thing. For start, it's a hero shooter that actually has tag team mechanics, which I hear is not really present in the hero shooter genre. Like Heroes of the Storm was not Heroes of the Storm. Battleborn wasn't doing it. Team Fortress 2 isn't doing it. Overwatch wasn't doing it. There was synergy, but it wasn't actually tag team things going on per se. Marvel Rivals introduced like these tag team things and whatnot. So where you actually had two people paired up, it wasn't like, oh, these things just happen to have synergy. It's rather the game coded. Oh no, you have Hulk and Wolverine together. Now you have a tag team attack that allows them to do this or that thing together and whatnot. And then I guess the other thing also is this is a hero shooter that does use the third person perspective, because the only other one that does that was like Smite, to my understanding. So like, besides Marvel Rivals, using the Marvel IP, it does seem to stand alone as this is a hero shooter genre that does something on its own that the people who like that genre can still appreciate.
I will be real curious to see how far the Marvel IP can carry them. And again, like at the end of the day, like I don't care about sales that much, right? But you remember like Dragon Ball Fighters because of the Dragon Ball property, like just how lucrative that was. Do you think Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls gets anywhere close to that?
I'm going to say no
Yeah.
because of a few things. One, Dragon Ball Fighter Z came and filled a void that basically was completely absent. Because the only other game that was a tag game was Marvel's Capcom Infinite, and those games played
Yeah.
completely different.
Right.
And then actually, I guess actually there's another thing. Dragon Ball Fighter Z still was a complete product, and actually even said to this
Hmm.
day, It had a tutorial that was teaching you things. It did have a single player campaign that it did took advantage of to make you
Yep.
do things and whatnot.
True. I forgot about that.
Um, so there's that. But then I guess another thing also is we have to remember Dragon Ball Fighter Z wasn't like the first. That's like the third game in the series because there was Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors, and then they took that and made Extreme both of them for the DS, which there are similar assets you'll see from that game going to Dragon Ball Fighter Z and whatnot. So they at least like so it's not like they did Dragon Ball Fighter Z from the ground up. No, they had a foundation. Tokar is working from the ground up, and that's why it's having so little is kind of understandable because that's kind of just when you start a brand new IP, you start with little and then you kind of build yourself up. It is the Marvel IP, and they are trying to make it, flashing and interesting looking, but it's now competing with many other tag fighting games. It's also still doing the issue of, it's still doing the issue of the genre of not only is it a niche and a niche of being a tag fighting game, you're also a fighting game. Like we just now got
Yeah.
2SKO who just lit off a lot of people, and they're like, why did they do that? They're like, well, we didn't get the expectation that we want. Well, what did you expect? You made a fighting game that one has an identity of trying to quote be easy but being very obtuse actually. Secondly, all you got is training mode and online mode. What other can people do with 2SKO to engage with this product, to get involved with it? Like if you just came into 2SKO, okay, you can have your arcane character, so you could at least be like, okay, I know about Echo and Jeans because of arcane, but who's Darius? Who's Alawi?
Yeah.
How do I find out about them? Oh, you don't actually have anything in 2SKO to tell me about them? Just that they're in the game? Okay. Wow. And whatnot. So, like, it's not really doing cross-promotional things even well, in my opinion, with 2SKO. Maybe Marvel Tokon will do slightly better because this is Marvel IP, so there are Marvel characters. But I don't think the IP is going to carry it because we have had other Marvel character games that didn't quite do so hard, even if it did do something interesting. Like, there was Midnight Sun, which actually here is a very good XCOM game, but people didn't really care to mess around with it because it kind of had a weak presentation, didn't really like had a poor PR. And in fact, this is what's happening with Tokon now. Tokon's PR is kind of very weak because still don't really got too much information about games mechanics, and we're just finding out about 4 more characters after nearly a year, not to mention the beta test being so difficult to get into. No, it's not a good first impression if you ask me.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting, or it's a different state for me now that I have like a PC capable of like getting the game. But when it was first announced, just being excited for like a new type of fighting game, and again, just the initial look of the aesthetic was really, really interesting. I think what did it for me was Iron Man's helmet design, right? I was like, man, that looks real cool. But then it was like, a PC, which I didn't have a capable PC at the time, and then PS5 exclusive, right? So I was like, this is
that's going to hurt that
fighting,
too. Yeah, the PS5 exclusivity is going to hurt.
fighting game that I'm vaguely interested in, but like I won't be able to get too invested in it. And now, just as time's gone by, and like just the time availability to get invested in certain games, yeah, like I'm mildly curious, but I don't have any real investment in this one. So
yeah, I don't have any real investment for the Tokon that's really about to drop. I'm more invested into the last Airbender that's coming out. That
yeah,
one
dude,
seems
that
far
one
more
continues to look
interesting.
good. I couldn't remember if they released the Toph trailer at State of Play. It doesn't look like
No,
it,
no,
but
no,
that
they
dude, that
didn't. They
Toph
they, they,
trailer
they,
was
they did
hype.
on their own. But yeah, yeah, it was definitely hype what they did for a Toph trailer, and then they got the playtest count. And I say even I think even Invisible, which I don't have a glowing praise, but at least it is different. So that's why I could give Invisible Versus. Invisible Versus is different. Different that can be uncanny and maybe even not to everyone's cup of tea, but at least it is different. I mean, if you play Killing Instinct, then you're going to start seeing some similarities and whatnot. I don't
Yeah.
think it being a tag game was in the right cars, but that at least has something interesting going on with what they're doing. And for the one, they have a system that is open. They have mechanics that they are willing to show and share and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm far more interested in Invisible Versus, and not just because it's coming out sooner, not because it's also on multiple different platforms, not because it's also from an IP that is not really used so often, but because even from a gameplay perspective, they have far more different stuff. Actually, not even saying different stuff. Let me actually backtrack because that's what I did want to speak about that you mentioned about time investment. But
Mm.
actually, we are gonna wrap this up real soon too. Um, I want my games to be easy to grasp because I already feel fighting games are already a complex genre. So make the floor very easy and accessible. This is what we can do with like the free to play model that Dead or Alive sits hopefully going to keep up with, but also with execution and highlight how you engage with the game. But also don't overbloat your game with so many freaking mechanics as well. And I
Yeah.
feel Invisible Versus has enough mechanics to where to keep things interesting, but don't also overbloat it to be way too much. Or rather, how about this? They at least make combos as simple as button and to do special. Like they don't make it difficult for you to do combo. So it's a less about can you do combo. It's rather how do you form your combo. Is it going to be one that pushes for corner position advantage? Is it one that's going to be focused on damage, or is it going to be one that's focused on setups and whatnot? Like that's what they're asking to you doing your combo. They're not asking you, can you do this combo? They're rather, what is this combo going to do for you and whatnot? Because how accessible it is, and that's what I want for my games kind of going forward. I just want games that just let me start enjoying it. One of the reasons I'm not getting into a lot of these roguelike, because so many of these roguelike games are asking, look at all these different combinations and things you can do, and I'm like, this seems like a whole lot. And I'm not interested in trying to mid match. I'm just trying to engage with a product that either gives me a task and makes it simple and easy to enjoy and whatnot. Which is why I think JRPG is coming back to the forefront because thankfully they're kind of somewhat keeping themselves simple. I know some like to mess with the crafting, but not all of them
Yeah.
are.
Well, I was about to say, like, min-maxing in JRPGs most of the time is not necessary at all. And I think that's half the reason why I'm also enjoying my gacha game journey as it's going is like, I don't care about meta or end game, and that relieves a lot of stress. That prevents a lot of FOMO for affecting me. And I get to kind of just like experience whatever kind of journey I want, whether it's through the story campaign or just like dailies and battles with the characters I enjoy. So I totally hear you on just like not worrying about min maxing at all. Like that's where I'm at with my gaming journey too.
All right. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up now. Is there anything else you want to say about the state of play?
The one thing I'll say, Capcom's new IP Pragmata, like that girl creeps me out. That's all I want to say
I
about that
won't.
character.
I think I want to say that's intentional, but I can't say so. I am a sucker for like a lone wolf and cub like dynamic and
Yeah,
whatnot.
and that's totally what it is.
I'm a sucker for the type of dynamic. I won't lie to say that she doesn't have some uncanniness to it, but I guess I wonder if that's by design or not. That I can't say for certain. But Pragmata, we'll see what they have to do with Pragmata. Resident Evil 9 definitely wasn't holding my attention.
Yeah, I'm
And
too far off of Resident Evil to care
yeah,
about all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I am hoping we get some things about Ingrid for Street Fighter 6 soon because she's the kind of character I'm looking somewhat maybe interested in looking forward to. Otherwise, well, I'll at least give our system work this credit. You're about to put RoboKai into Get to Get Strive 2.0. You can probably redeem yourself with that. Oh, that is
Hmm.
my phone saying, you know what? Let's go ahead and wrap this up. So yeah,
All right.
hey, everybody, thank you again for joining us, and y'all take it easy. Calm down. Where can people find you?
So you can catch me on Twitch, Commdao, COMMDAO. But I just started another podcast series with Fabian called Gotcha Pity Living, where we're covering gotcha gaming news and our experiences with gotcha games. You can catch us on YouTube, but also on wherever you get your podcasts. So Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. Actually, I want to hear into that because I am not in the gotcha world, but it is interesting to hear. Well, I do want to get another perspective because the only person who I get gotcha information from is usually from Pat Starzat and Wooly Versus from Castle Super B. So having another
Mm-hmm.
person who could like enlighten me about some of those gotcha things will be interesting because apparently my friends come to me about gotcha games and I'm like, I'm not the person who's into gotcha games, so I can only elaborate so much. So having a podcast I can point people to will be great in that regards. But hey, all right, calm down. Thanks for joining us, and audience, thank you for joining me as well. So have yourself a good day, and catch you on the flip side.